Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, the creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is the power of live events. In the dynamic world of real estate investing, attending live events can be a game changer. Here are 4 reasons why. Number 1, networking opportunities. Live events bring together a diverse group of professionals, from seasoned investors to industry experts. Networking at these events can open doors to potential partners, mentors, and collaborators. Building a strong network is often as valuable as the knowledge gained, as it can lead to joint ventures, shared insights, and access to exclusive deals. Number 2, market insights. Real estate markets are ever evolving, and live events provide a real-time pulse for the industry. Attending conferences, workshops, and seminars allows you to gain insights into market trends, emerging opportunities, and potential challenges. Staying informed about the latest developments is crucial for making well-informed investment decisions. Number 3, learning from experts. Live events often feature keynote speakers and panel discussions with seasoned investors, industry leaders, and successful entrepreneurs. These experts share their experiences, strategies, and insights that may not be readily available in books or online resources. Learning from those who have navigated challenges and achieved success can provide invaluable lessons for your own real estate journey. Number 4, motivation and inspiration. This one is my favorite. Real estate investing can be a challenging and sometimes isolating endeavor. Live events provide an opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals who share your passion for real estate. Being surrounded by motivated and successful investors can reignite your enthusiasm, provide fresh perspectives, and inspire you to overcome obstacles in your own journey. So remember, the key is not just attendance, but active participation. Engage with speakers, ask questions, and initiate conversations with fellow attendees. Whether you're a novice or a seasoned investor, the connections and knowledge gained from live events can propel your real estate investing career to new heights. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us Kyle Root. Kyle started buying real estate in 2020. He was able to go from 0 to 70 units in 2 short years without using any type of syndication or joint ventures. At 26, he left his W-2 job. Now, at the whopping age of 29, he continues to scale his real estate business and coach others to do the same with little money into it. His goal is to help others understand their full potential. This can be accomplished through many different ventures. For Kyle, it was real estate investing. While Kyle does enjoy talking about real estate, most of all, he enjoys talking about the importance of daily habits, discipline, overcoming obstacles, and building a life worth living. I am ready to dive in, so welcome to the show, Kyle Root.
Hey, Jen, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. I was very impressed when you came across my email, and I was like, he's how old and doing what? So I am thrilled to have you on the show. But first of all, tell us how you got involved with real estate.
Yeah, I think like many people, you start working a job. I came out of college, construction background. I got a construction management degree. And I think like many, you find yourself in this corporate world, and your whole life you press to get a good degree. Mom's telling you if you don't get a college degree, you're going to be working, a manual labor job the rest of your life. And I found myself in this great paying job, everything that it was all the checklist, right? It was everything. You go down the checklist, a good paying job, secure 401k match, everything. And I'm like, man, this just isn't working for me. I don't want this to be the next 35, 40 years of my life. And during that time frame is really when I just started diving into real estate. My senior year in college, I took a property development course, which isn't the route I ended up going down, but all it takes is a little fire, right? Just to get things going. And I started going down this storage unit. I was creating these drawings for storage units that I was once going to own. And then I was like, man, I could just buy a duplex. And then I started getting into Grant Cardone stuff. I'm like, no, we can't buy a single family. It has to be multifamily. So just kind of the fire just started really when I was around like 24, 25 years old. And I kind of got stuck in an information period for about 2 years, which was fine. Just doing a lot of research, podcasts, where others were going out on the weekends, I was staying home, kind of being a square. Looking back, I probably should have had a little bit more fun, but that's okay. I just was really deep into the information stage for about 2 years. And I came across house hacking. I figured, a duplex, side-by-side duplex in Wisconsin is where I bought my first one. I figured, it's pretty low risk, low down payment. Said, hey, worst case scenario, I'm living in a place for the most part for free. I don't have a lot of money into it. And then we can just kind of go from there. So that was really how things got kicked off. And then, just kind of started scaling from there. But that was kind of the initial real estate kickoff, if you will.
I love house hacking, especially someone your age. It is the absolute best way. You said you bought a duplex?
Correct.
And
yep.
So listeners out there, how house hacking works is you buy the duplex, you live in one side, but your renter next door pays your mortgage for you, basically. And you can even go a step further and do a triplex or a quad, and you get a break on how much you put down. I think it actually just changed. I saw it on social media, and of course, everything on social media is true. So I saw that now you can put a much smaller percentage down if you're going to buy a duplex, triplex, or a quad, and live in a portion of it and rent out the rest of it. So I absolutely love that you did that. Now, did you get along really well with your tenant?
Yeah, actually, I really lucked out. He was amazing. It was just a single guy, his dog. It was perfect. And I honestly think house hacking is one of the most underrated and underutilized methods when it comes to real estate, especially when you're first getting started. Like, right. A lot of people right out of the gate, it's like, hey, look at house hacking. You need them, especially if you're a renter, and you're just trying to get started right out of college. I'm like, man, house hack, even if it's a single family home, rent out, rooms. I think it's an amazing method just to get started.
So smart, Kyle, for a young 29-year-old. Very, very impressed. So you went in really like 3 years now, I guess it is, from 0 to 70 doors, which is very impressive. And you did it without using syndication and without joint ventures. So I want to kind of reverse engineer this and ask you, what is syndication and what is a joint venture in this situation?
Yeah. So, which will kind of go into why I didn't end up going down this route, right? So syndication, I first looked at, like I said, Grant Cardone. I'm like, that was the first thing that I was going down, is listening to Grant Cardone, going to investors, raising funds, putting them in a pool of money, right? Now you have other people, you basically have other people's working capital to your utilization, but you are going to capital stack. And capital stacking is you use other people's money, you go buy the property, maybe you put in some of your own. It's just like, you put in some of your own, but they are the first lien holders on the property. So I'm like, man, okay, well, giving up control right out of the gate and that's the way I looked at it, is giving up control right away, where I'm telling these other investors like, hey, first of all, right out of the gate, I was like, trust me, I've never done a deal, but you should trust me with your $100,000. I know what I'm doing. So that was kind of scary to me. And maybe it was a fear thing initially where I was like, I didn't want to go to a bunch of people and say, hey, do you feel comfortable, going in on this partnership with me? You bring the money, I'll do all the back end operation side. Management will exit in 3 to 5 years, and we'll pay you back and hopefully, get a return at 12%. And that's, in general, that's kind of what syndication is. And I know there's like, you can be an accredited investor, and now people are starting to do non-accredited investors. And all of that just seemed very complicated to go get a deal done to me. And I don't like complicated.
To
that
me
was
too. I mean, I looked at syndication. I was like, first of all, it seemed like so much effort. Like you are busting your ass trying to find all these people to invest in your property. And, that's also scary. And you started touching on being, I just forgot the word, accredited. Sorry. Woof.
accredited, yeah.
And you touched on the word being accredited or non-accredited, and that's a whole other ballpark as well. So I am right there with you, Kyle. It scares the hell out of me. So now let's go to the other side, and there's joint ventures. I know there's a lot of coaches out there that teach, do a joint venture to get started. I personally hate joint ventures just because, again, like you said, you're giving up control, and I'm kind of a control freak, but so give me your little spin on why you did not go with a joint venture.
Yeah. I mean, just like you said, it comes down to a control thing where why would I want to ask? And it's not, it doesn't come from a place of, I don't think I could have used the help. I certainly could have, but I didn't want to go to another person and say, hey, let's go in, let's say it was 50-50 deal. So you bring the money, I will be an operation side, or we 50-50 right down the middle. We both bring money. We both operate to a certain degree. We both agree that, in 3 to 5 years we'll exit and take that duplex and put it into a 4 unit or 8 unit or whatever it is. To say that we're going to agree for the next 3 to 5 years of our lives and nothing's going to change, our emotions won't change, us as individuals won't change, and our plan, to me, it was just like, I know that I'm going to change, and I don't want to say, hey, we can't move this in 3 years. A person that bought a property in 2017, in 2020 or 2021, if you are an exit type person, probably was a heck of a year to exit.
Yes.
So if your partner isn't on board, you might be strap holding yourself, and that's just not what I wanted to do. And I'm not saying if someone comes to me and says, Kyle, I don't have any money, maybe take a peek at joint venture. Maybe that is something that you want to go down. But for me, and like you said, it was a control thing. And it's funny, my wife, right before I came to my office, she told me that I'm a control freak. So I guess it kind of makes sense.
There's nothing wrong being a control freak. I'm all for it. So, all right. So going back to the questions here, you left your W-2 job at the age of 26, and it was in construction. So that's a great education right there to have that background. How did you make that jump? Did you have a bunch of money put aside? Like, what made you comfortable to just rip the Band-Aid off and leave your W-2?
Yeah, I mean, I would, going back in time, and I would honestly never advise anyone to do what I did, ever. I would never advise someone to do it. I was 26 years old. I had in the ballpark of like $60,000 to $70,000 in savings. I was single, not married, no kids. I had, I think, 7 rental units at the time. And people that own rental properties know that 7 is not going to bring home the bread. Like, you're not going to be able to retire on 7. But I figured out how to purchase. I was purchasing with hard money. My hard money lender I built a great relationship with. He didn't require a down payment. And I just told myself, I'm like, I figured what I was making. And I said, okay, so if I can flip a few properties a year and buy some rentals along the way. It was a very uncalculated decision. Most people won't say that, but it was very uncalculated. And I really just bet on myself. I said, I think that I can figure it out. I've seen other people take leaps of faith and it work out. Why not me? And that's basically what I did. I flipped for capital, built up my reserves along the way, was buying rentals. And for anyone that knows, anything about the refinance period, you need to show a source of income. And that became an issue down the line. So I really had to wait about 6 months for another tax season to roll around before I could show income. Again, uncalculated, wasn't thinking, but again, like I just bet on myself and I kind of figured it out along the way. And I think that built a lot of resilience for me to be able to overcome obstacles as time went on. But yeah, that was my game plan, and thank God that it ended up working out okay.
I love all of what you just said, Kyle. That was awesome. So now you went from 0 to 70 in 2 years? So how did you do that? And I like that you brought in or just mentioned how you finance these deals and with a hard money loan. So for the listeners out there that want to duplicate what you did to get to 70 doors in such a short time, how did you do it?
Yeah, so it was just that. And one of the things that we should mention is when people talk about syndication, that doesn't mean you can't use private investors for an initial purchase. Like, it's a very different ball game. And when people talk about private money or hard money, even those two are very different. If you have friends and family that have money, like right now I'm working through a deal where a gentleman has some money sitting in a savings account and he's not making any money on it. I said, hey, let's go buy some. Yeah, nothing. I said, hey, man, let's go buy some real estate. I'll give you 10% return. I'll pay you 2 points on your loan. And he's like, that sounds incredible. So he's upfronting the entire purchase. I'm offering cash. I'm fixing it up with his money. You know, of course, you got to show that that there's enough equity from the construction and the purchase of the property. But that's all I did. I went to my hard money lender and I said, this is what my plan is. Are you with me? And he gave me a thumbs up. He's very relationship based and local based. He's not like a national wide guy. And those guys are a little bit different. They require down payments, more in-depth analysis, underwriting, things like that. But he was very relationship based and he took a chance on me as well. So I purchased with hard money. I renovated with hard money, and he would offer at 65% loan to value, and I'm of the ARV. I'm sorry, and I'm in the Midwest, and I buy everything between 1 and 4 families. So a quick example would be, let's say I bought a property, or the after repair value. So the purchase of the property and it all fixed up would be $100,000. Let's say this lender would lend 65% of that 100,000, so 65,000. And let's say it needed $15,000 in work. So you remove that $15,000 from your $65,000, you're at $50,000, and that was my offer price. I stuck to it. Even in the hot market, I was offering at volume that $50,000. I made a lot of people mad because I was lowballing in the grand scheme of things, but I didn't care. Like, you can't operate with emotion. You got to operate with math. What makes sense from a mathematical standpoint? You can't get attached to properties, how you feel about it, how your mom feels about the colors of the walls. It doesn't matter. You have to operate, especially in real estate, you have to operate with what makes sense and what math is, not emotion. And I just repeated that. So I purchased that way, renovated that way. Banks, I built relationships with banks, and it had to be commercial banks because I just talked about the tax side of things. Yeah, I couldn't go to conventional or DSCR and say, hey, look, I can't show any financial backing, but what do you say? You take a risk on me, huh? Well, that's just not how it works. They have underwriting criteria that doesn't work. So I went to business bankers, local commercial credit unions, and they took a chance on me long enough to build a relationship. And then from there, we just kept compounding. We were doing 1 a month, and then I'm like, hey, how do we do 2 a month? And then we started hiring people on from there, and it just started snowballing. I'm
so impressed with you because we are in the refinancing process for a 12 unit that we have right now. And we are
nice.
Thank you. We bought it for $250,000. We have forced appreciation. I know, it's awesome. And it's in Southern Virginia. So there are some banjos playing in the background up there, but, the refinancing process, my husband has had to keep a W-2. Now he's a contractor type position. So, but it still is considered a W-2, and he goes from job to job and when we need it. But that is so true. So you said like you said commercial banks or credit unions. So tell the listeners, how do you find banks like that?
Yeah. So if I was you guys, what I would do is I would just go online, find your local credit unions. If you go on their website and you go under Yeah, I've kind of like mastered this
I love
online
this.
reach out to credit unions. So if you go on their website and you go to contact us, under contact us or about, it's either under their contact us or about, it'll have like a little, your name, your address, and then how can we help you? And I just blasted every single, I mean, I probably in a day or two, I blasted probably 30 to 40 credit unions, tell them exactly what I was doing. I was very honest about my situation, blasted it to everybody, just saying, hey, I'm looking for a commercial banker, someone that refis based on the performance of the property. And that's key, the performance of the property, not the personal financial backing. And just say that, the address, what you're looking to do, what, your strong equity position, good cash flow. And I just sent that to 30 different credit unions, and about 5 to 10 got back to me. 1 to 2 took the chance on me, and we were able to move forward. And then once you get enough momentum going and you get enough, deals done, you can walk into a lot of places, feeling pretty confident. I mean, showing people a good financial backing, you can show a decent rent roll. People are going to start working with you. And that's the thing about local credit unions that I love. And especially when you go with commercial bankers, business bankers, if you will, is that it's relationship based. It's relationship based. It's your business performance. And that's what I loved about it.
All of real estate is relationship based. It's, I sold Aflac for about 30 seconds and I was like, sales sucks. And, but you get into real estate and everything is sales, but it's all relationship based. So I'm so glad you brought that up. So we've talked about how you finance these, and you do 1 to 4 units, correct? So single family homes up to quads. Have you ever ventured into 5 or more units like the commercial, or that's just your sweet spot?
Yeah, I mean, I've purchased more than 4 units at once, but it was throughout multiple properties. So I've never dipped into 5 units at one location yet.
Got it. And because for the listeners, they are evaluated differently. You don't use comps to evaluate them. So it's a totally different ballgame. I actually was like, I'm going to go commercial, multifamily and hit it strong. And I have since done the reverse. And now I'm only looking for quads or unders, but it does have to be multifamily. So Kyle, I'm so excited about this conversation because you are teaching me lots. I appreciate it. What I want to know now is, how do you find these properties? And are they all local to the Green Bay area where you're located?
Yeah, great question. I have bought probably 90% of my portfolio off the MLS, and how I did it, and everyone will say there's no deals on the MLS. The minute everyone's telling you to look the other direction, I look the opposite. When everyone's telling you, hey, there's nothing out there, I'm like, well, let's just wait a minute here, because now we're in this trend where it has to be off market. It has to be off market. It has to come from a wholesaler. And in my local area, wholesalers are getting crazy with their prices. Like I'm a part of a bunch of wholesale lists, and I'm like, dude, some of these properties that you're sending me and these ARVs are wildly aggressive. And what they do is they pounce on, you can kind of see, I've had a property with a wholesaler. It didn't go well. So I come from a place of a little bit of emotion, but they pounce on new investors.
Yes.
And I just don't love that. Not all of them. There's good wholesalers out there. I'm not saying all of them, but they pounce on new investors because they're going to trust their ARVs, their construction. And if I could provide any advice, and I will answer your question here, but if I could provide any advice, is always run your own numbers. Don't trust anyone. Trust but verify, if you will. Just verify all numbers, get a second opinion, and make sure you have professionals backing those numbers. But so I buy everything off the MLS for the most part, about 90%. And, as we kind of mentioned, once you build enough relationships, people start just bringing you their problems, saying like, hey, I got a single family home or duplex, it's underwater, or I need help. And I'm like, well, let's take a look. So I've got some that way, but most of them have been off the MLS. I'm a numbers guy. And what I realized is that if I want more properties, all I have to do is offer more. We were getting about 15% of all the offers that we put in. That meant if we were going to offer on, we didn't do this, but if you were going to offer on 100 properties, you're going to get 15. So every single month I was looking at, I'm like, hey, we're getting about one deal, every in the ballpark of like 10, like 8 to 10 offers we would get one deal. And as we started building up our team, I said, okay, so all we have to do is find more properties, offer on more properties. But with that comes more of an operation side. So we started hiring out acquisition people. And again, if you remember how I talked about the example with hard money, right? 65% of the 100,000. All I started doing was working in what I was paying them. So I paid per acquisition $1,000. So all we did was add a line item to our construction amount. So rather than offering at 50,000 in the example that I gave, we were offering at 49,000, and their salary was worked into it. Their commission was worked into the deal. And then I started hiring project managers. I was paying them 10% of the renovation budget. If the renovation budget was 20,000, I paid them 2,000 to manage the property and manage the renovation. And again, all I did was take that 2,000, put it under the 49, and now we're at 47. Now my offer price is 47. And we offered that way at volume for a long period of time. With that being said, it took expansion had to happen. The market that I'm in isn't big enough. It's only about 100,000 people at any given time. On prices under 100,000, which is what I buy, there's maybe only 5 to 10 properties sitting on the MLS, and we'll burn through that within a week. So we started dipping into other markets in Wisconsin, one small one called Wausau, but more importantly, we started getting down into Milwaukee, which is better known. And there's so many deals sitting on the MLS down there. And we just built out our team that way. We hired an acquisition person per location, hired a project manager per location. I was underwriting all the deals, and we just offered at volume.
This is fantastic. And so one of the habits I'm getting into, and I want to talk about your habits because I know you really thrive on routines and habits. But one thing I do, I literally pull up Zillow. I do North Carolina multifamily, and then it pulls up North Carolina, but then I click in the ocean. And then it then shows me everything within that square on there. So it's really within about an 8-hour drive if I need to get someplace. So I will click on the ocean because it's right there next to it. So it'll show me all the properties. And then what I do is I look for 4 bedrooms or more and 4 baths or more, because that's either going to be a 2-bedroom, 2-bath duplex, which is I like, or it's going to be 1 bedroom, 1 bath quad or larger. So, or a triplex in there occasionally. But I do that. I put a certain, I don't want to go above this price or whatever. And I do it that way. And then I will click on the listing. I then switch it over to newest because I will do this every couple days. And then that's how we reach out to these realtors for that property. And then we find someone to write an offer and all that. So I love your strategy. And right now, yes, MLS is definitely a great way to go because properties are definitely sitting. So with all of that said, I want to hear about your daily habits and what you do, because I love the concept of every 100 offers, I'm going to get 15 of them. So mapping that out, making your routines, etc. What does your day, week, month, all that look like?
Yeah. I think that it's important for us to understand that all we can do is control the variables that we can control. Like, we can't look at everything that's being circulated in our life and worry about things that are outside of our control. And that was one of the things I'm really thankful that I learned early on. And I often found myself overcomplicating things that didn't require complex ideas or complex, things. And, anyways, I basically realized that I had to just control what was in front of me. And with that being said, and I'm not saying this is the way to success, I'm just telling you what works for me. Some of the things that I take and that's really important to me is taking care of my health. So I get up really early. I get up about 4:00 in the morning, and I start education right out of the gate. I read like a personal development book. Really, I don't read a lot of real estate stuff at this time because I think too much information removes some creativity from people. And I like to just look at some, different perspectives to kind of help create some creativity. And if I think I'm always really reading real estate books, it leads to burnout. So I work a lot reading wise on just like personal development. From there, I'll go to the gym, go work out, and then I come home, eat my breakfast, start my day. My day usually starts around 7. And one of the things that I think it's important for, aspiring investors or people that want to eventually leave their job or just purchase a few along the way is that hard work and working long hours doesn't always equate to results. Like the person that is working more hours than you, don't think that they're going to yield a bigger result than what you are. It's a fallacy that we've built in hustle culture that the harder and longer you work, the more you're going to succeed. And that's not the truth. You have to understand what's money-making activities and what's maintenance activities. If you spend all your time answering emails, texts, scrolling on Instagram, while that person that's working 4 or 5 hours is out there doing the work that makes money, they're going to win every single time. And so what I do is right out of the gate, we start going to acquisitions. As much as I'd love to come to my office, answer emails, text messages, calls, the reality of it is me being out in the field and chasing down deals and checking on my operations side, talking with my property managers, my project managers, my acquisition guys. Boots on the ground for me is paid. And I've realized that. And I spend less time behind a computer than probably most people do. And I like it that way. So for me, I spend a lot of time in developing my project managers. I spend a lot of time developing my acquisition guys. And we're trying to scale this thing. But I also want to create a life for them. Like I'm helping them buy real estate. I don't want people. Who wants to be at the top alone? Nobody does. If I can go to the top and bring my team with me, there's nothing better than that. So that's really what I focus on. The first 2 to 3 hours of the day is just checking in with my guys, seeing how things are going, and just pushing the envelope. In the next 2 to 3 hours of the day, I will answer emails and phone calls because that is a requirement. You can't ignore your emails. You can't ignore your phone. I kind of have a rule in our business that if somebody calls twice, that you have to answer. Like we can't be a company that never answers our phone or hides behind emails and text messages. We need to be a face, and if we're going to be a face in this world, we need to show it. A face,
right.
Phone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, that's kind of how my day looks. It usually finishes around 3-4 o'clock. I'm not a person that works late into the night telling myself that, hey, the longer you work, the more money you're going to make. I never accepted that reality. I don't want to get to the end of my life and realize all I did was work it away. I think if I work harder in a shorter period of time and do money-making activities, I can succeed just as fast as anybody.
Absolutely. Work smarter, not harder. So well said. I gotta say, meeting you, I prejudged you because I was like, oh, he's young, how sweet, and damn, you are so impressive, Kyle. And I'm just thinking of my listeners right now. Maybe someone's driving the car on their way to their W-2, and you are living their dream. And I know you recently started a kind of one-on-one coaching program. So tell us a little bit about your coaching program.
Yeah, I think first thing right out of the gate, and I'm picturing myself, right, driving to my job, not Traffic. Enjoying it. Ugh. Yeah, just waiting for the right moment to get out. And I just want your listeners to know that everyone that you're watching this podcast, the people that, me and Jen on this podcast, or all these rich, famous people that you see on Instagram, they don't have anything you don't have. The difference is we don't have an education problem. We have an application problem. At some point, we have to apply and not just educate for too long. And trust me, whoever's listening to this, you 100% have everything that everyone else has that you're looking at. You just have to start applying some things. And sorry, I kind of forgot.
No, I love it. It's taking action. No, the question is, I want to hear about your one-on-one coaching program.
Yeah. So the one-on-one coaching program, a lot of people say, Kyle, you can make more money selling a course. I'm like, I don't care. I care about helping individuals, understanding their story. And that's why I want it to be one-on-one. It's a 12-week program. You and I, the person works with me, and I guarantee that in its 12 weeks, I guarantee by the end of the 12 weeks, you will have a property under contract exactly how I'm buying it. So we'll set up your team, your systems, everything exactly how I'm doing it, or I work at free until we accomplish it. I just know that the person with the right mindset, and unfortunately, I don't accept everybody. And I'm sure just like you can't accept everybody into your life. There's some people that say they want it, but they don't want it.
Right.
And the people that are hungry to go get after it and really chase it, they're so easy to work with, and it's enjoyable and it's fun. And it's just, I love working one-on-one with people. I don't love the course atmosphere. I think it's very disconnected, and I like connecting with people. I have great relationships with my students, or like the people that are now like even outside of it. Yeah, so it's a one-on-one course, 12 weeks, and a guaranteed product. Otherwise, I work with you until we accomplish it.
Nice. And how do they find you to learn more about the course? Or not course, program, yes.
Yeah, I got a website. It's kylejroot.com. But honestly, my Instagram, just shooting me a DM is probably the easiest, which is just KJ_root. Just shooting me a DM. I put out a bunch of free content on there. So at the very least, just go check some stuff out. Yeah, basically how I'm buying real estate, how I'm leveraging real estate, and then just some of the mindset and habits behind it. I put a lot of that stuff out on Instagram. So,
well, you are very impressive, and the sky is the limit for you. So I just want to wrap up this first half of the podcast, though, because you have a bullet point here that says, what was the worst decision that you ever made in real estate? And I can't wait to hear this story.
Yeah. There's so many.
It looks like you've got a bead of sweat.
Pain points, right? It's just like reliving trauma. But no, I'm just kidding. So there was a triplex. And this is another thing, a good learning lesson is that you don't get caught up in unit counts. And for a while, I got caught up in unit counts. I was really just chasing, make sure you can tell everyone that you have X amount of units in X amount of years, like getting caught up in unit count, not cash flow, not strong finances. So, and this was during that phase, and I bought a triplex, and I completely looked over all of the MEPs, which is mechanical, electrical, plumbing, all the service, all the plumbing, all the HVAC, all of the electrical. It was all ran, but in the basement, there was no sitting HVAC unit. There was no hot water heater. There was no electrical panel. And that was in the ballpark of probably a $30,000 mistake. And this was while I was trying to, grow my business in a short period of time. And it was just me. But again, I removed myself from what I do. And that's, going down the checklist, checking everything. I was just excited. I was having a hot month. And I'm like, this could be 3 more units. It's like, dude, it didn't matter about 3 more units. You just blew $30,000 or $40,000 in a mistake that all it took was you to walk down in the basement. So
I appreciate you sharing this story because many of the listeners are just chasing that first deal, and something comes across their desk and they just go for it just because they want that deal so bad. But doing your due diligence, checklists, everything of the sort, that is so very important. So thank you for sharing that story. We are going to move to the second part of the podcast now, which is what makes Kyle Root a badass. And I use the acronym BADASS. And the first letter is B for book. And what is a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
It is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And the title kind of says it all, The Slight Edge. It's just a bunch of different habits and things that we can do day in and day out that give us a little bit of a slight edge on, our competition or in our business. And it really does tend towards, business owners or operators, people trying to get things off the ground. So yeah, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson.
I got to check that one out. I like it. All right. The first A in badass is for advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Yeah, it was actually just a couple days ago, and it really hit with me. And it was, your frequency is what you frequently see. And it's similar to like proximity, right? Like proximity is power. What you're around, who you're around, the relationships that you've built, good or bad, will have a hindrance on how you operate. So yeah, that was one that I got a couple days ago. I was like, dang, that's pretty good.
That's huge. Say it one more time. I was like, wow. I love how you said
Your frequency is what you frequently see.
Very good. Damn, Kyle, you are blowing my mind. I'm so impressed with you. All right. The D in badass is for drive. What drives Kyle to be successful?
I think, things have really changed over the years. I think when I first started, I was came from a place probably of selfishness where it was just like, you 26-year-old guy is just trying to make a buck, like it's not like I'm way older than 26, but I was just like, make money, make money, make money. Let's get rich. Let's drive Lambos. Like that was just and that's what social media pushes, right? Like everyone in Miami driving Lambos and have rolls. And it's just, so I was probably initially, it was very selfish, money hungry. But I think now, so I'm married. My wife and I hope to have a family soon. And I think I come from middle class. I come from the middle class, which is a very dangerous place to be because it's good enough to stay comfortable. Mm-hmm. You can get your couple vacations a year. So I would say that it's just changing the trajectory, the financial trajectory, and the way we talk. And my last name Root is what it means to be a root, specifically a male and a leader. And I think that I'm really excited to just change the trajectory of what it meant to be a root, that we aren't, middle class comes with a mindset. Mm-hmm. And that we are capable, that we are meant to be up there with the big dogs, and that we can be those people that compete at a high level. So I think it's just that. I think my reason, purpose here is changing the trajectory of what it means to be a root.
And you talked about your parents saying, go to college and do this, or you're not going to make money. And I as well did that same thing. You got to go to college, you got to work for the man, then you retire, then you die. So I love that you, at your age, discovered it so much quicker. And I'm sure many listeners out there who are on their way to work, sitting in traffic, are like, ugh, Kyle, I got to connect with him. So this is fantastic. All right, moving on. The second A in badass is aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you're currently working on?
Yeah, so I think in the real estate world, I want to get to 100 properties, 10% of them paid off, and then open up a line of credit against those 10 and basically operate as my own private lender, if you will.
That is a great idea, because normally I don't like paying anything off.
Me neither.
I love the leverage of using other properties towards other properties. That is genius. Great job, Kyle. All right.
Thank you.
The first S in badass is for systems. You sound like a systems guy. So what systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
Yeah, I think first of all, just making sure that your habits are in place every single day. But kind of like I talked about, like with my business, it's kind of in 4 buckets: acquisitions, construction, the reposition of the property, which is refinancing, and then the management side of things. The best system that I ever did was hiring all of that out and finding people that could operate those at a high level, those 4 buckets, and then I can move the needle as far as, pushing all 4 of those buckets, if you will. So I think almost sometimes people, even myself, I overcomplicate things. Like sometimes I'll roll something new out to my team and they're like, dude, we don't need another freaking spreadsheet. We don't need another checklist. So sometimes, a few systems is good. Figure out what works for you, understanding what you're good at and what your pain points are. Hire out the pain points. What's a money-making activity versus a non-money-making activity? All the non-money-making activities hire out first. And then the money-making activities, do those until you make enough money to hire them out. So yeah, I just think hiring the pain points first is critical so that you can work on the money-making activities.
So well said. All right. The final S in badass is for success. What does success mean to Kyle?
Yeah, I love that you said for Kyle, because I think mainstream success is that finance side, right? And I think for me that I've really found that I think success for me is just internal peace. I think that when I lay my head at night, I know that I gave a good effort today, that I'm affecting, and trust me, I make tons of mistakes. So I'm not saying under any means that I'm operating like an angel every day. I'm not. I make mistakes. But I think life's about pursuing success. And I don't think there's a destination. And that's why they say life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Like, I don't think it's not life, liberty, happiness. You have to be in the pursuit of something because there's purpose behind pursuit. And for me, when I'm pursuing success, which is for me is just internal peace. Am I happy with what I'm doing? Am I helping people? Am I doing it with good morals, values, and ethics? Sure, there's definitely times that I have shortcomings, but I understand that they are shortcomings and that it is an act out of character. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a long way to answer, but I think it's just internal peace, to be honest. I think just being happy with myself and the person that I'm developing and pursuing to be, that's success to me. And I hope to continue that trajectory.
Well, this whole interview has made me happy. And Kyle, again, I feel like a broken record. Do you even know what a record is? But I am so impressed with you. This is
Thank you, Jen.
Amazing. And, you know, what I respect most about you is the whole one-on-one, number one, because I have fallen into like, it's exhausting. I do coach as well. I do one-on-one coaching, but I have started creating these online courses just because I can't have 1,000 conversations about how to set up an Airbnb or whatever it is. So I've created these, but for you, and you know, you stick to your guns. You have said real estate is a relationship business, and that's what you're doing is you're providing a direct relationship with these people and you're hand-holding them through, and you are guaranteeing that they are going to get that great deal. That is just fantastic, and building a life worth living. And that is the epitome of what you're doing. You also are not the guru type who has done real estate and now, let me just teach it because I can make more money teaching and doing these whole huge events or whatever it is. You are still out there. I want 100 doors, you know, and I want 10% paid off. You have just such these goals out there. And I'm just, like I said, broken record. I'm so impressed with you. And one more time, how do the listeners find you to learn more about getting some one-on-one coaching with you?
Yeah, I think just going to my Instagram, KJ_root, shoot me a DM. Shoot me a DM and I'll get back with you. We'll hop on a consultation call. There's no upfront fees or anything. We'll hop on, see your situation. If I can help you, great. If not, I can provide some free tips on how I would go about, you know, whatever it might be, like cleaning up your credit, wherever you're at in your journey. At the very least, I can provide some free advice to go apply in real life. And yeah, I think that's the best place. KJ_root, my Instagram.
Well, Kyle, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And that is all. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.